All right, so we're casting vision for the 2020 school year, and one of the best tools I can think of to create vision is a concept map. Essentially, what this means, don't worry, it's not too painful. It's actually going to help streamline your brain a lot in your thought process to achieve whatever goals you have in store. So, best case scenario, what I want you to really consider are what are the goals you really want to achieve in the areas of maybe academic goals, character goals, spiritual goals, personal goals, and finally, social goals. So, for example, best case scenario at the end of this year, the very last day of school, my kids may have conquered the fact that maybe they need to have all of their homework done before dinner. That's a healthy routine that it allows them to transition from work to home. It allows them to function on getting a good night's sleep and resting and having a really healthy schedule. So that might be a good example here. Character goals. Maybe your daughter has a difficult time advocating or speaking confidently with her teachers, and you want to work on that. Social goals. Maybe your daughter needs to make more friends. Personal goals. Is there something that she's wanting to try, but she's been too nervous to try for years? And then finally, spiritual goals. Is there something in her church life or youth group life that maybe needs to be taken as a higher priority? And then just flesh out the page. Anything that comes to mind, any subtask or sub goal of these goals can be branched out upon other branches. So this is essentially going to give you a visual of what's in your brain so that you don't have to store that up there anymore. And then we're going to start to kind of channel in and focus on the goals that are really going to make the biggest difference for your family this year. When you're ready, go ahead and step over to page 2 where we're going to read step number 2. And what this simply says is we're going to circle the 5 goals that are going to make the longest impact on our family. So rather than focusing on maybe 5 goals that are going to be convenient or just easy, think instead what goals are really going to set my family or my daughters up for success 5 years down the road from now or 10 years down the road from now. And what you're going to notice is that these that you're focusing on are most likely going to be skills that she's going to learn and therefore can apply in future goals and future adventures of her own. And so go ahead and circle the 5 that are going to give you the most benefit long term. And then if you want to, you can even prioritize these numbers 1 through 5 based on how important they are to you and your family, or just based on how much work it's going to require to get those done. Once you're ready to step on to step number 3, we're going to look at probably the most vital component of goal setting, and that is to rephrase or rewrite the questions or goals so that they are measurable and they are achievable. The word measurable cannot be understated. We cannot achieve goals if we don't know when it's been achieved, right? So they have to have dates on them, they have to have specific numbers, they have to have perhaps a sequence that will allow you to measure what those are. So, for example, all homework needs to be done before dinner. That might be a little vague, it might not be measurable, but we can rephrase that to be a little stronger. The one we really need to focus on is I want to help Anna advocate for herself. That's not very measurable. How do I know that she's more confident with her teachers? Well, maybe instead we can say that I bring in Anna for 2 parent-teacher conferences this year. And at the end of those 2 conferences, then hopefully she will have accomplished that goal as well. But that's very measurable. 2 parent-teacher conferences as opposed to she will be more confident. That's vague. So go through each of those 5 goals and just rewrite them so that they're measurable, that they have a very clear understanding of when that goal will be accomplished and when we will know that we have accomplished them. And once you've done that, this is the biggest bulk of your work right here. Good news is that we're just going to transfer this over to this final concept map on page 3 and or 4, depending on whether your school is a quarterly school or if they focus on trimesters. So choose the one that works for your schedule. And then I want you to, first of all, just go through and find the very last day of each of those 4 quarters so that you know a concrete deadline of when each of these benchmarks should be achieved. So because these goals are what we hope to accomplish on the last day of school, I'm going to focus on this 4th one here just for the sake of the example. So I'm going to write that goal under quarter 4 because that's what I hope to accomplish by the last day of school. Then what I need to do is consider, okay, what goals and benchmarks do I need to achieve to ensure that we are on track to succeed? So maybe one of those parent-teacher conferences needs to be completed by quarter 3. Maybe I need to schedule each of those individual conferences in quarters 1 and quarter 3. And so those benchmarks are going to ensure that I am on track to keep my daughter in line with what her goals are. And you're just going to repeat this for each of the 4 or 5 goals that you've chosen for this year. And this is going to essentially hand you a roadmap to success for the 2019 and 2020 school year. And that's how you use a concept map to cast vision for the year ahead.